What'd you end up doing for your New Year?
You know, I just kept it simple. Like, for some reason, I wanted to go out and I wanted to, you know, spend time with my family and stuff. But it was like super bad. Like the weather, like even like the apartment complex, it was like flooded. So like even get to my car is pretty easy because like parked to the front, but like everywhere else was like flooded. And like I know myself, like, you know, if I go out to any family party or something, I want to drink. I want to get turned up a little bit. But the weather was so bad, and then, you know, they have checkpoints. You shouldn't even drive drunk, you know what I mean? But I didn't want to put myself in that situation, so I just, you know, just stayed home and then just work on the podcast. Like I just wanted just to, you know, send my text messages and stuff like that here and there, but I just kept it simple.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, especially if you know you ain't gonna have, you know, a DD or nothing, like shit. Because it was bad out there too. As far as Las Vegas, bro, like it was storming the out of the 4 days we were there, it was storming the 3. You know what I mean? So it was like even on like the night New Year's Eve, like that night of New Year's Eve when it was about to be New Year's, it was even like raining when we were watching the fireworks and shit. So it was bad even out there. And I wouldn't say bad, but it was raining. And then that's when I got wind of like everything happening in the Bay Area, like how it was flooding and all that stuff. So I was like, dang, that's kind of crazy. I was like, because as soon as we left, like I remember complaining about the heat, and then it got cold out of nowhere, and now it's raining. Like it never rains out here. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But no, bringing in the new year, it's like, didn't it come up fast, bro?
This year is like one of like the fastest I felt, like time wise. Like it went from like January 2022 to then like 2 more days. Now it's like gonna be like going into 2023. So it went by like super fast.
It's crazy. Like it's like we blinked. But I'm not gonna lie, bro. Being in Vegas during New Year's, it was different. It was so many people, bro. It was so many people. It was like when they were like doing the countdown, like that was probably the most people I've ever seen, bro. It was like everybody was like packed, like coming out of the casinos and the hotels and stuff, and everybody was in like a central location. And me and my girl were up on the, you know, the elevator goes up, and it'll have like the glass wall where you can still see everything, but you're walking through like to get to another place. So we were up there where we had the view, and it was like 3 different areas. It was like 1 in front of us and 2 on the side of us that were shooting off the fireworks, and it was crazy. They were going crazy.
Damn.
It was wild. It was definitely a good experience. I was like, man, this is like, I've never been anywhere during New Year's like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm always like local or, you know, in Manteca, Modesto, whatever. I never really went, you know, out of state to go do stuff.
I know people talk about like, going to New York and stuff like that to go see like for New Year's, but I never heard about going to Vegas. I always thought about it too, but I never thought like, I didn't know like, what do they do? Like I didn't know like, what they do in Vegas for like New Year's and stuff.
Yeah, it gets crazy. It actually looks dope. I never thought about it either, but you know, my pops had you know, the tickets and stuff, and he was like, man, we gonna be chilling, like we gonna be watching the fireworks and stuff. So it was only right that we, you know, went and did that. And like, you know, even when I was out there, like when the fireworks and stuff was going on, like I was just thinking in my head, like, you know, how important it is like to be thankful. Like I was just thankful to make it through the year. You know what I'm saying? Like to make it another 365. Like like I know it sounds like kind of corny maybe for someone to say it, and it's like, okay, well, everybody said no, but really like understand, like you could not make it out the year. You know, you don't know when your time is. So like sitting back and being like, dang, you have another opportunity to chase your dreams, to do whatever, to live, spend time with your family. Like you don't take that for granted. You know, time to, you know, whether if you're hustling, stacking for your family, you have a family, have kids, your girl, your friends, spend time with your friends, like all that is like valuable, all valuable time that's spent, you know. So once you get to that New Year, it's like, yeah, there's reason for a celebration. You know what I'm saying? You made it through strong, you know. And I don't know about you or, you know, Chris, I was so happy. Like 2023, I couldn't even like imagine, like 8 years ago, I couldn't even imagine like where I would be at 2023 or like the mindset I would be in. But, you know, just to make it to that point, I was just thankful.
Yeah. I think me too. I think honestly 2022 was like one of the most like challenging years of my life. Like I think a lot of like looking within of like where I want to go and where I was heading in certain phases throughout the year, like certain moments where maybe I was getting caught up in my feelings too much, and maybe like outside events were like kind of controlling of like my day to day. I think a lot of things were like throughout this year was showing me of like so many things I have to cut out and so many things I need to bring in. Like I had to like stop, this year I really started tapping into like my masculine side, because I felt like I was almost like getting too tapped into the feminine energy, right? And obviously feminine energy is like, feminine traits. Like I think I was getting caught up too much in my feelings, and not like towards people, not like I was taking things personal, like what people were saying and stuff like that. It was more like I think I was too caught up in my emotions, and I would make decisions based off my emotions. And I started realizing like, throughout the last few years, I was kind of getting away from my masculine side. Like me, I'm very strong opinionated. I am assertive. Like I don't give a damn what nobody thinks about me. I think I know what I know what I want, and I know what I gotta do at the same time. Like I was almost timid to speak about certain things because I felt that not everybody's gonna agree, or I was gonna get judged, and so I'll kind of get caught up in that game of like, push and pull. I was kind of being timid with my goals. So I started realizing like, hey, I gotta sacrifice a lot of stuff if I want to get where I want to be. And that is like family time. That's like friend time. That's relationship time. Like, I got to put that effort into the craft or the business and like the vision of like where I want us to be with this podcast. Like now that we have Chris that's back right there with the camera, we should give Chris like a mic, like a little mic that you could speak. I know like other podcasts that have that.
I was just thinking about that because like there's a couple podcasts that I'll watch where whoever's producing in the background, like Chris, like they'll have another camera face towards him. So if we have input or anything like that, it'll like show him, and he'll have his mic either on his like collar or a mic that goes right up into like where he's, or on the top of the camera. It could be on top of the camera too. So it could be any of those options, but that would be dope to have.
So that's something that we're gonna do. I think we need to definitely do that. And damn, I forgot where I was going with this, but like,
you're talking about everything that you have been through in this past year, and talking about tapping into your masculine side, and you got to think about a lot of the stuff that we were doing this year, 2022. Like, it was a lot of stuff that we both were expressing that we've never talked about. So it was like we're getting stuff that maybe was pent inside of us, like our whole lives, that we never had a chance to talk to, and stuff it's conversations that you had with me that I didn't even know about you, that kind of like, brought us closer together, and it helped to get off your chest, you know what I'm saying? And certain things that I've told you, same thing, so it was like a good like give and take, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like you tapped into more of your feminine side, but towards the end of the year, it's like, okay, well, I'm getting this stuff out. I'm learning to like better myself, and now I can tap into my masculine side. Now I can get back to like my grind and get back to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely was a great year, bro. Like looking back, and I cringy, but I'll go back and watch the first episode. That's like a wake up call for me, bro.
Damn, I've yet to watch that. I don't think seriously. I've ever watched that. Never watched the first episode,
bro. It was it's crazy. It's not terrible. It's not like it's anything terrible, but it is something that I feel like it humbles me. Oh, it humbles me because I'm like, damn, look where we started at, like, and we had so much support off rip, and it was genuine because, we could have got on here and talked about anything. Got here talking about, talking bad about other people's platforms. We could have got on here talking negatively, but the foundation that we started, and in my opinion, like, this true business that we're starting from each other, like this can go lifelong, and I 100% believe in it, regardless of what positions we're in the next couple years. I'm 110% in this. You feel what I'm saying? I'm sure that all you guys are too. So like we could just keep pushing and see where we land, because I could not imagine like going back to when we first started being like, okay, We're going to have over 10,000 followers on TikTok. We're going to have almost 5,000 followers on IG. We're almost going to have 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're going to have all these people supporting us, you know, and people generally like, I watch you guys' podcast and it keeps me going. You know, I just had a conversation with Chris's mom. Chris's mom was like, you know, keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys keep me going. You know, and I had no clue. I had no clue Chris's mom even watched. You feel what I'm saying? So even little stuff like that, it's like, you know, it makes me feel good, and it's like, you know, we have to take on this role as like leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether if we're doing the podcast or not, we're gonna still be ourselves. But bro, there's people watching that we don't even realize, dog.
That's the biggest thing, right? Like, some people I think want the applause and like the audience and like the likes, the follows, the praise, the fame and all that stuff, but you don't realize like people are watching you. Like, people are you know, like, especially being like the oldest, or you got younger siblings or younger people around you, like people are watching your every move. Like, they're getting that's how I move, like my life is being recorded. That's why I'm so honest and transparent, because I feel that's what I want back. You know, I want to influence people to be okay to speak about their truth. Like, you should be, this is your life, you know what I mean? Like, you're only here one time, at least in this physical form or in this body. So like, it's important for you to live the life that you want, like create it, you know, be your own artist in the world, and you get to dictate how things go. Like, you don't let what the president of the current moment dictates, or whatever voting or whatever political ties, or what your auntie said, or what Anonymous 69 told you on the comments. Like, you don't like let these people dictate how you should live your life. And like, my biggest thing is like move with intentions, you know, like you got to move with purpose. Like, you have to understand, like, everything you're doing has to be for a reason. Like, you got to plant the seeds so you could get the fruits later. Like, you got to just keep planting every single day, and, you know, let time, you know, grow the labor that you've done by planting those seeds from 5 years ago. Like, you need to, everything that you're doing should have a reason. Like, you should be kind of positioning yourself to where you want to go. Because for me, it's like, you know, you don't really meet a lot of people that are like, I mean, everybody has like their own purpose. Like, some people are just happy with a content job, a nice car, and a white picket fence with a nice family. I think you win. Like, if you're happy and you don't complain about shit, you won, right? But then there's other ones that, you know, like for me, I'm not content. Like, I'm not content with where I'm at right now. At the same time, like, sometimes I judge myself. I'm like, damn, like, even if I watch TV and I watch like an hour of a show, I'll look back the next day, or even in that moment, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you should be. And sometimes you're like, you know, you need to relax and blah blah. But then I'll tap into like, oh, take a day off, take it. And I don't know, like this Christmas, I seen my dad on Christmas Day. My dad was literally shaking and having like alcohol poisoning, and because he drank so much the day before. And I sat with my dad and a grown man crying, telling me that like it's because he's stressing because he hasn't had work in the last 2 months. And so when you like sum it up together, like, here's a grown man crying because he's worried about the finances. And for me, when I look back and I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm eating ice cream or something, I'm like, my dad's over here struggling, crying. I think about that day, and I'm like, and I'm over here wasting it, watching this fucking TV show that I don't give a fuck about. And so that type of shit just motivated me to like, that's why I was like, I ain't doing shit for New Year's. Like, I'm sacrificing time. Like, I need to involve myself with people and do things in order to get to the point where I can see my dad not struggling. Because look at that, like, my dad literally put himself into that point because of finances. And so like, I take that responsibility of like, you know what, I gotta do all that I gotta do to get him out of that. All because of money, he did that to himself. At the end of the day, he's healthy and life ain't that bad, but the fact that he don't have finances and the money ain't right and the money ain't coming in, and with the weather going on too, and he works outside on his cars, like, that pushes me to like, yeah, I can't slack off. Like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do now. Like, I can't sit here and complain about my dad being in this position, and yet I'm over here bullshitting the day. Like, that's why I can't play video games right now. I can't like focus on those things. Like, I got shit that I gotta do. And so like, I don't know, this whole year and then like situations like that put things in perspective of like, I hate that saying, right? Like, oh, new year, new me, or like the new year, I'm gonna do this and blah blah. for me, it's like you gotta do what you should have been doing. Like it doesn't matter about the year, I think it's good motivation wise, but at the same time, you can't move off motivation. Like you gotta move off like inspiration, like something that's like bigger than you. Because if you only do shit when you're motivated, that shit don't last. Yeah. And so like you gotta have like pure intention of what you're doing, or else it ain't gonna last. And for me, like I'm trying to make the biggest impact for everybody else but myself. And so I know I have that capability. So I got to put my feelings to the side. And that's like me tapping into the masculine, like, fuck how I feel. Like, I got to do what I got to do. I cry about it later. I'm not going to kill myself. Like, I'm good enough to cry in the car and, get through it. But, my goals, the people who I'm doing it for, even myself to a certain extent, like, don't nobody give a fuck about your excuses. Like, it's all about, like, what you produce. So it's kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to myself and do what I got to do.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to think about it, bro. You're like, fuck that. Like, I know where I come from. I know I like the obligation that I have. So I'm gonna keep going. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, like what? I'm over here kicking it on playing 2K. Nah, fuck that. Like I gotta go get it, because you got people and you got, people and, family that you trying to like take care of. You know what I mean? So I 100% agree. And like going back to what you were saying about, the new year, and people like, basically trying to just move off of motivation. You know what I mean? I think I seen a quote on that too, where it's like motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going. So it's like if you don't have any discipline and you don't have anything set in stone, like you're just going to tire out. It's going to be a 2-month thing, and then you're going to be right back where you were before, the new year. So focusing on like the discipline and consistency, I think is a big thing. And that's like, a hard thing for me as well. But that's definitely something that can keep someone going. So you getting on that, getting on, your discipline and tapping back into your masculine side and realizing like, hey, like I could be doing more, is nothing short of great, because you're pushing yourself to be great, and you can easily, not trip, drink a beer every day, kick back with your feet up, play Call of Duty on your off time, you know what I mean? Like, but at this, instead you're, doing your thing, and you're thinking long term and thinking who you can affect by going hard now, and I think that, it's only a matter of time, because, once you have, that idea, that thought of where you want to be, where you want to go, your goals, aspirations, it's only a matter of time before that, with putting the right work in and mapping it out right, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to, and that's why I think it's so important for people to actually not only write down things that they want to do or have a goal board or anything for the following year, but you should also put like realistic things. Don't put you want to make $1 million in a year, be realistic. If you're a manager somewhere, you got to be realistic with yourself. Okay, it doesn't matter how much money you're gonna make. Okay, what do you want to save? How much are you gonna save a month? Break it down. You know what I mean? Like month by month, week by week. Like check on your finances. Check on like how you're doing in your year-long plan, your month-long plan, 6-month plan. Come up with something. You feel what I'm saying? So. And for me, that's something new that I've done, because everything has always been kind of scheduled for me. You feel what I'm saying? When I'm in football, it's like, okay, we got the 12 games in the season, this and that. Okay, I got workouts here, I got to eat here, yada yada. It was never like I would write down like how I wanted to do during the season, where I got to get for my weight, and executing it that way. But it was never like outside of football, like just okay, making sure you go to the gym. There ain't no consequence for not going to the gym now. Being consistent with going to the gym, being consistent with your body, being consistent with what you put into your body, and that all plays into, your journey. So same thing for you. You're going to align yourself right, because you're putting everything right. We're getting shit started with this business that can, put you in a position to where you can buy that house you always talked about. You feel what I'm saying? And next thing you look up and all your family is with you. You feel what I'm saying? So all I got to tell you is like, keep pushing and keep going for that. And if, you have to make, a year plan, 2-year plan, 5-year plan, just keep going, and I know that you're going to get it. It's just only a matter of time, but I think you're going to get it sooner than you think, in my personal opinion.
Man, I sure hope so. Somebody asked me too over the weekend. They asked me, they're like, "Hey, how did you like get to the point where you're at now?" And like, I think they were kind of like expecting an answer of, like if I had a vision board and stuff like that. And I never had a vision board. I never done a vision board, but I feel like it could be beneficial. And for me, I noticed that when that person asked me that question of like, how did I get where I'm at? I told them like straight up, it was more of like, you know, it was those challenging times, like hitting rock bottom, you know, maybe getting overweight or maybe doing something a little bit too much or losing all my money or being broke or having no money in my account or putting myself in debt, like, or a tragic life event. Like those moments like showed me what I need to do. Like, okay, you got yourself here. Now you got to get yourself out of it. And then when you get yourself out of it, make sure you don't make the same mistakes. And like for me, like everybody operates differently. Me, I'm super good with mental notes, like mental notes or mental emotional notes, like how I felt when I had no money to my name or how I felt when I seen my dad in the bed, like the way he was, and or like how I felt seeing my siblings struggling with like self-worth or like their place in life. Like seeing those things kind of like led me to being this leader that I want to be and kind of leading with purpose and like, you know, lead with, I feel like lead with love, you know, move with purpose and, you know, live to inspire. Like that's kind of my thing is like, I want to be able to be a kind of like a branch to people to fully tap into yourself, because all the answers are like within you, like all the power, all the knowledge, all the things that you're searching for are already like implanted in you. Like you just need to sometimes open the door or let life show you, or, you know, let God or trust that, you know, like everything's happening for a reason. Because at the end of the day, everything is like, even the worst of the worst things that have happened in your life, there was always a lesson in there. Like it's not, things don't just happen to you just to happen. Like there's a reason why. Like there's something that's in there, that the reason why you're in this situation. Maybe you trusted this person. Maybe you were negligent of their moves, or like maybe you spent too much money with your credit cards because you were thinking so short term. You weren't thinking about long term. Like what about building your credit to buy that house? You know, like, and I made mistakes myself of like, you know, spending a lot of money early with my credit cards and buying stuff for like car parts of a car that I ended up trading in like probably like a year after or months after, or parts that I never even put in my car, and I spent thousands of dollars and stuff and put on my credit, like making short-term like moves because I had no purpose. I don't even give a damn about my like cars, to be honest. I really don't. I'm not that type of guy that really cares. Like I have a pretty nice car, but like who cares? Like for me, it's just like a vehicle. And like, if I thought like that, why would I spend $1,000 on trying to make it look nice? Like, you know what I mean? And like, not, it's because I was like, you know, not intentional. So I think it kind of, it means a lot of like making the right moves and planning, like thinking long-term of what you do. And like for me, right, I want to buy a house. I want to do this. Well, I got to get my credit up. I got to get that debt off. I got to be more disciplined with those things. I can't just shop and buy things just because I want them. Like, nah, if I don't need it, then I don't buy it. I gotta maybe stop going out and stop spending money. Like I need to hone in and stay at the house and work on the business instead of going out and having fun. Like what the fuck are you celebrating for? Like that type of shit. Obviously you need to have fun too. Like, you know, have your fun, but do it with the perspective of like, hey, have fun, but don't forget about those things. You know, don't just overspend at a table at a club, like spend $1,000 or buy the newest pair of Gucci or something. You know what I mean? Or J's, whatever. If you're not thinking of tomorrow or in the future, you know what I mean? And I think like for me, it's like I gotta be right with my credit and discipline, not only physically, mentally, but also financially. Like that's a big one too.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they do fall into debt like that. You know, I kind of went on down that path, you know, around COVID, 2020, 2021 kind of went into a hole when it comes to, or around the end of 2020, 2021. And like you said, it was like a lot of like instant gratification things that you were like paying, like I was paying for, and going out to eat, going out to do stuff, and not taking care of business. Then like because with your credit, you want to stay below 10%. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to stay around that range, and the smart thing to do with your credit would be to use it to leverage to your advantage. So if you're out, every time you go out, you're using your credit card. Every time you go to eat, you're using your credit card rather than just eating at home or making your own food. Or just if you are going to eat out, like budget it and be like, okay, well, this how much is coming in. I could spend this much this week, but a lot of people don't do that. So when I got into, spending a lot on food, because I eat a lot, bro. So when it came to food, bro, I was spending thousands of dollars on food, bro. I'm talking about like crazy amounts. And I go back and I'm looking at all my my statements, and I'm like, damn, I really spent this much at here, this much here. Like, when did I order pizza? Like, what did I do this? What did I do that? And even on shoes and stuff like that. And you look up and you're like, damn, I'm at 75, 80% utilization for my credit. Like, and that's terrible. You know what I mean? So, and if you are, I know people that's like 90, 80% of your utilization. Start now and make a plan. Like we were talking about earlier, make a plan to where you can pay those things down, right? And obviously you still don't spend all your money to pay off your credit card debt, but, spend the money, obviously pay those down, not just minimum payments. You want to actually make payments or double payments on your credit cards and try to get them down to where you can leverage them and use it to your advantage. Like, having your car payment and your insurance on your credit card, but every month when they take that out, you can pay on it. Now you're not just straight. Now you're scrambling to make your payment for your credit card, but you still gotta go and make a payment separate and make a payment on your car note and your insurance, and or maybe your rent or anything like that. You want to use it to where, like, okay, this car is for gas, this car is for this, this card is for that. You want to have it to where like it's organized. And so once I started paying all my stuff down, and I was like, like okay, well, now my score is boosting up, I'm not killing my credit score, and now I can do different things. Okay, now I can leverage this. Now the money I'm bringing in, I can keep it in my pocket. I can keep it in my savings. I can really, like, save and move my money around the right way. And I'm not just out buying like, crazy stuff, because you want to have that credit for either a rainy day, or you want to go, you're trying to build your credit to get a house or get a car or anything. Like, you want to make sure that that's the number one thing that you should be doing. That's a cheat code, and right now I'm in the learning process of doing that. So I'm still like paying off debt from 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, to be in a good position to where I can do certain things. So getting it down to, the 10%, using it to your advantage, and even like, business credit as well, leveraging that, because, that can be used like how you said, for like, the wrong reasons as well. So I'm learning all that in the business aspect, and, watching podcasts and like, listening to stuff that, I can get educated on, and then, obviously like free game that I could spit to you guys or to, the podcast viewers and stuff like that. But man, that's the number one cheat code of life, man. Just get your credit right, because once you have a great credit, bro, what can't you do? Me personally, when I did see those, see how much I did have in credit, it was like, oh, if I go over 10%, I'm not crucified right away. Mm-hmm. Bro, I ran it up so fast. And when you look back and you're like, oh, wow, these payments are kind of eating at my pockets, because you're paying interest on those purchases that you have. The longer you take to pay it off, the more money it's going to be. So get those payments down, take care of your business, be responsible, and man, you're gonna see, the light on the end of the tunnel when you focus on that, and you're gonna walk in, or whatever, you want to get a car or a house or whatever, and either you have low payments or you get a car with no money down, and 0% interest, whatever it may be. like, be responsible. That's one of the main things. I wish someone would have told me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because you know what's important is like you can say you're the smartest person in the world, but if you can't control your finances, like you're a mess. And like you can look the part, you can act the part, and whatever. But if your finances aren't in order, then you're kind of a mess. Like you're kind of like almost like a liability now. And to be honest, for me, like I wouldn't want to get with a woman that is a mess with her credit. And as a, if I would not expect a woman to want to be with a man that his finances aren't in order too, right? Like you want to have that. You want to have your finances in order because I think that's big. I think Kevin O'Leary was talking about it in a interview, talking about how, when you get with somebody or meet them on the first date, you want to ask them like, what's your credit score and why? Like, and that's a pretty big, like, that's almost too personal, but I think it's like almost like a real thing nowadays. Like you do want to get with somebody that does have their affairs in order when it comes to like credit, because like, yeah, you could be attractive. Yeah, you can have a good job even, and your credit could be shit. Like you could have like $30,000 in like credit debt, or your car included, and or school loans and stuff like that. And like you do want to keep those things in order, because that's part of like your like resume. You know what I mean? Like you can look good, all that stuff, but like if your credit and your debt ratio is pretty high, it's unattractive. And I made my own mistakes too. Like, man, I have debt that I'm still paying off from years ago because of short-term thinking and just basically sabotaging myself by buying these things that I didn't need. So I think like, like financial literacy is like something that's very big too. Emotional intelligence, yes, physical appearance, perfect, but like your finances too is a big thing. So I think for me is like, and it all starts like where you're trying to go, like, do I want a house? Do I want to start a family? Do I want to buy this new car? Do I want to buy whatever? Like, you need to make sure that, your finances are in order and you're working on your credit. Cause I mean, like, but it's like credit is like the biggest thing to utilize in a way. Like for me, what I've been doing is like, I use my credit card like my debit card now. So instead of using my debit card to buy everything, getting gas, I put it on my credit card to build credit history and credit usage and paying off with my statements. Like you want all the money that you get in, you want to keep it in your debit card. And then you only use your debit card if you need to maybe pull cash out for whatever reason. But to pay off your credit with your debit card, because then you want to build that usage. And also the earlier you start your credit history, because I didn't even know when I was like 4 or 5 years in, like with credit, I didn't even know that like credit age was a thing. Like there's like a measurement of like how long you've had. I remember I had my credit card for like 6 years, and that wasn't even enough. That was like that's like baby steps. I'm like, damn. I thought like 6 years. I'm like, I must like be a senior when it comes to having a credit. But now it's like 20 years and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize like credit age is a real thing. So I mean, if you want to buy a house, credit. You want to buy a boat, credit. Unless you could buy it fully in cash. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's kind of hard to do. And would you really want to utilize all your money to buy? Like if I have $500,000, there's no way in hell I'm gonna buy a house for $500,000. Like why would you do that? You tie all your money in there when you could have went through a credit system, paid monthly, use that money to buy another house. Instead of using that $500,000 to buy one house, you could buy probably potentially 5 houses with that $500,000 and like turning them to like rentals, like and get rental income.
Assets.
So yeah, so like the biggest thing is obviously like shout out to EYL, earn your leisure, like assets over liabilities, like that's and I've been always thinking like that, like not buying too much things that aren't really going to provide value. Like you want to invest into assets, and I think the best investment you can make is in yourself, like before anything. So like investing in yourself, on like educating yourself on a course, going to trade school, going to college, or even going on YouTube, researching ways how to learn how to do this or elevate in your job, career, creating this business, education, like it's endless. Like everything, all the answers, all the money you can make is literally on your cell phone or your computer. Like you don't need a degree or nothing like that to make a lot of money. That's the key, like, or that's the goal. Like, you literally have all the power. Like, you have the brain power. Like, if you know how to tie your shoes, I think you could make $1 million. Like, it's that simple. And it's crazy to, like, how it sounds, but I think the way you do anything is how you do everything. So if you know how to do one thing, you could do that and attach it and correlate it to making money. Like how you tie a knot is how you can figure out a way to make money. Now, obviously it's different, but like, you know, the way you struggle to do this one thing or moving up in this certain position, I don't even care if it was from a lower level to a second lower level. Like, the thing is, the way you were able to elevate there, the way you can elevate to be a CEO, it's just steps, or even creating your own money. Like, people forget, like, you don't always have to work for a company. Like, you can make your own. Like, and, you know, not everybody's created or built to do something like that, but just know it's in you. Like, you decide what you want to do. You could be the best number one player on the business, or you could be number two, number three. I think, like, the person that's 100th that works for Apple makes like 6 figures. So, like, you don't have to be number one. You could be, you know, you could be the, what's called the Robin to Batman type thing. Like, and you could still be happy and making good money. Like, you don't need to make millions. You don't need to be making even $100,000 a year. You could be happy making 80 or 60, even 50. There's people that there's people that I've met that make like 30 grand and as happy as ever. So it's kind of like you get to dictate like what happiness is for you. Like, don't let social media and these ads of like these entrepreneurs like join my course and like pay $1,000 to learn how to make $1 million in 5 seconds type shit. Like you don't let that be a destination of what success is. Success is like you genuinely being happy with the life that you got. And so like, and that's it's all up to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you get to determine what success is, not other people.
Yeah, for sure. And I seen a video of someone talking about that and talking about like how, like, you know, he would rather make, you know, 50,000 working for himself, being happy, than making 70,000 working for somebody else and having to put in when he wants to go on vacation and stuff like that. And I 100% feel him. You know, that's why there's so many people, you know, cutting hair. There's so many people doing nails, doing hair, you know, braiding. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Some people have their own like trucking businesses. Some people have like there's so many different ways that you can, you know, work for yourself, and it's so real and it's so apparent now. Like, you can go on any social media and literally see like hours and hours of how to do things. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to learn how to do something, or how to start a clothing brand, or how to do anything, like, all of it's there, you know, and it's all about how you market yourself when you do it. And I feel like same thing for our podcast. You know, our podcast would be something that we genuinely can like work for ourselves and do, and it could be a long-term thing. You know, this wasn't something that was just like, oh well, like someone had a platform like the formula for us, you know what I mean? Or we stole somebody else's swag or how they do it. You know, no, we came up with what we want to talk about, how we want to talk about our foundation and everything. And honestly, like, I can do, like we can do this shit and I'll be perfectly happy. You know what I'm saying? And make money doing this, like, rather than, you know, me working for somebody or me working for a corporation where it's like, oh, well, you know, regardless if you're here or not, like, we're fine. You know, if you die, we'll get someone on Friday. You know what I'm saying? You die Tuesday, they'll get somebody in there at your job at Friday. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I'm all with that, and I'm still in between figuring out what I want to do. I mean, other than the podcast and stuff like that, but like career wise, but you know, I'm leaning more towards entrepreneurship, because I like the feeling of making my own, you know, schedule, or being able to do things on my own, or like, hey, I want to work 5:30 to 4, you know, every day, you know, Monday to Saturday, you know, and based on my work that I put in is how much money I'm going to get. I'm not getting paid regardless. Like, I'm not busting my ass and getting paid the same money as the dude sitting on his ass. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, and that's, you know, where it comes into like, you know, talking about sales and talking about like, you know, starting your own business and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a whole nother world when it comes to that stuff. And shit, I'm all for it.
Hell yeah. No, yep. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just thankful, bro. Another year that we got locked in, and then we got new blessings, and like with us doing our part, it went from a 2-person team to now a 3-person team with Chris in the back. Like there you go. So like, you know, everything is like looking great. I think for us, like everything is starting to, like our biggest thing is like I like my thing is like, my biggest goal, my vision is like Nipsey, like the marathon is like all money in, no money out, like keep it all within, like keep the, like, you know, like the people that we bring in, our family, like the people that we bring in to uplift this podcast, like reap the rewards. Like there's no ego here. Like we all do our part. You know what I mean? Like when somebody sees something, you know, we do it. Like Chris with the camera, upgrading it, or even other ideas. You with the LLC and like the business aspects, and then me with the website, the content creating. Like we just do our part. You know what I mean? And like there's no 1, 2, or 3. It's just more like we are doing what we can do to uplift it and try to make this better for everybody who's watching, and try to make the biggest thing for me is like, you know, creating the biggest impact with this podcast and making people feel heard by, you know, I got a message last week too, people saying that, you know, the stuff that we're talking about, like people don't talk about that's mainstream. Like we talk about like some real shit, what we're dealing with and what we're struggling with at the same time, you know, not in a negative light. It's a positive. Like we're turning the negative to a positive, or the challenging moments into a way to, you know, that decides our character. So I don't know. I'm just extremely thankful for everything that we have and lost, and including people too. Like, you know, I think there's a lot of beauty in all the challenging times, and just extremely thankful to where we can go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like for sure the sky's the limit, and you know, and we're gonna keep climbing. And I think, like, you know, having people around you that have that same mentality or have like a growth mindset, like together, you know, because if it's just you, and you have a goal, having a good support system around you or having a good team can skyrocket you. You know what I mean? You can make you get to your goals 4 times faster than you just going alone. You know, so you know, having you guys, you know, with that same mindset, or you know, a mindset of like wanting to get better, wanting to grow, wanting to be open to criticism as well. You know, it's plenty of times where you told me like, hey, like this needs to be better, like, you know, and I've told you, hey, let's change some stuff on how we do, and it's never like, you know, like bad vibes, nothing like that. It's like, okay, well, like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? And it just makes this whole thing just so much enjoyable. Like we come here, we're able to chill, talk, you know, have a genuine friendship, you know, before the even work thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm picking my coworkers, would I rather go work at, you know, a factory being a area manager with people I really don't know, or would I rather have like my best friends, like, you know, with me building something from the ground up? You know, it's pretty easy to select and self-explanatory, you know, but, you know, I just want to say I appreciate you guys, you know, and, you know, this shit that we're building it's going to be legendary, bro. And, you know, we're impacting a lot of people, both the people that say something and both people that don't. So we just got to keep going and keep our foundation in like what we're doing, and, you know, just keep climbing. But I think this is, you know, very special, and I think this is gonna wrap it up for this episode, bro. You know, you know, Juan, you said a lot of good things today. You know, Chris has been phenomenal this whole week. You know, being super supportive. It's like you've always been here, you know, and this is just only the first episode that he's, you know, been here with us with.
Right.
So, you know, you guys, you know, show Chris some love on the socials and stuff like that. You know, show us love. Follow our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You know, especially our Twitter. We need more love on there. But you know, you guys go, you know, repost our stuff, like our stuff, send us a DM, letting us know you did those things, man. We'll repost it. We'll show love. We follow back everybody, and you know, we'll see you guys next time on Self.